It's a Sunnyside Summer Thursday, people. Welcome in to the CHGO Bulls Podcast, y'all. Sunnyside Summer Thursday. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusive apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 and over, and Illinois Med card holders. What up? What's going on? How are you? You look beautiful. I do too. I am Big Dave. That man down there that's perfectly coiffed is Will to Go Gottlieb. That man behind there on the ones and twos is our man Joey Spathis. Follow him at Joey Spathis, the quest for 2K. And this man in the middle, Will, this is our guest today, sir. Let him know who is sitting with us today, please.
Dmitry Pirshin, one of Modest Buzelis' skills trainers, his coach at Full Package, and he's still working with him. So really excited to have you on today to talk about Modest and yourself. So maybe we could just start there, like tell people about your playing career, your coaching journey, and how you got to where you are now.
Well, thank you for having me, guys.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate it. I've been coaching since about 2010, so it's about been 14 years. I started coaching while I was still playing, so it took me, a little bit to get going. I've been in the Chicago area for a long time. I came to the United States in college in 2006. So I was in Florida in junior college for 2 years.
Yes,
then I went to Delta State in Mississippi.
Shout out Statesman.
Yeah, and then fighting Okras.
Let's go.
Fighting Okras.
Let's go.
And from there, I went to Indiana. I was working out with Pacers.
Oh, wow.
Then I started pursuing my professional career. I started training. I realized that I wasn't good enough. So I was kind of my first trainer and coach. I had good mentors in Indiana and in Chicago. The owner of Full Package, Steve Brett, he was one of the first guys who started training me, or at least teaching me how to do it myself. And went from there. In 2013, I spent preseason with Denver Nuggets, and they were loaded that year. So ended up going in a G League. And, it didn't turn out the way I wanted, but back then it was a little different. We had 5 affiliates, and each team sent a player or 2. Dennis Schroeder, Rudy Gobert, Ian Clark, John Jenkins, Brian Carr. I mean, you name it. All my teammates.
That's an NBA team right there.
That's
Right. So Jared Cunningham, Millsap. Again, so then I just, you just sit there cheering for them. And then it's in the middle of nowhere in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Got that breathe with that dust. And it didn't work out that well. So I came back to Chicago and really just put a lot of time spending coaching. So now I used to live in Chicago. I moved a little bit north in suburbs.
Yes, sir.
I have 4 kids, wife.
Hey.
So I'm busy, I'm a president of Full Package Athletics now. Try to grow the program. So we're about 450, 500 kids. It's slowly growing. Try to do it the right way. Try to, at this point, mentor coaches, bring people with me. And that's where we're at.
Well, let me ask this, though, real quick. Just being a coach, you know what I'm saying? Upon first look, when you're looking at Goat, you're looking at me, you're looking at Joey. You playing a 2-on-2. It's yourself. Which one of us would you select to run with you on your squad?
Well, I already asked Will, and he said he played Full Package, so I got to go with that.
But Joey was too. He's in the Jewish Mafia.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. No, he did not play high school. He said he played
Out high
earlier.
school, very low level.
That's right.
Jewish
That's right.
Mafia ended in
I
in my
appreciate
middle
it. I
school.
wanted to ask you, what's like the scouting report on yourself as a player? When you were trying to make it in the G League, trying to make it in the NBA, what kind of player were you?
So the league changed a lot when it comes to size and athleticism. When I was going into the league or try to play, I was probably top 25 athlete. If I would do with the same thing now, I'll probably be bottom 25.
Okay.
For us, like between the leg dunk, you can win a dunk contest.
Yeah.
Now you got warm-up high school kids doing between the leg 360s.
True.
So, the basketball is moving on, and it's a little different. I wasn't as skilled when I was playing. I was more like a bruiser and just hustle player. So the guys like Carl Landry, Chuck Hayes, they out. They obsolete now. You know, there's no 6'6".
Yeah.
Like a stretch
Like
4
Zion
center.
is the closest thing, but he's
Draymond Green, I would say.
he's one of one.
But again, you have to be very skilled and you have to be in the right situation, and that's why I believe in NBA, especially or professionally. A lot depends on situation. Udonis Haslem said it very well. He said you are one coach, one situation, one injury away from being out of the league and an all-star. So
Margins so thin.
Very thin.
Thin margin. So coming up, like, did you have a favorite player or somebody you like kind of tried to model your game after?
Ooh, like as a player?
Yeah, as a player.
Oh man, one of my favorite guys was Corey Maggette.
Chicago guy.
Shout out.
Fenwick High School?
Fenwick High School. Bonzi Wells, Ronnie Brewer. Again, I was trying to model game for those, like Ben Wallace was one. I used to wear cornrows too.
Oh, let's go.
Right.
I'm gonna need photo proof.
I'll find it.
Come on, DP.
I had a cornrows and I was wearing Corey Maggette jersey.
Oh,
so I'll find that.
Hug out, DP.
I'll find out.
We can hug out.
So I would say like just guys who are, you know, like those stretch 4 kind of movable guys. So it wasn't like, oh, I want to be like LeBron or Michael Jordan.
Right.
Clearly that's not happening. So I was finding people who to watch, you know, to learn from.
Big switchable wing.
Yeah.
But those guys nowadays would thrive if they like develop their shooting a little bit.
Corey
Like,
Maggette.
Like Jeremy Grant or you know, like those guys. That's how I saw myself, I guess.
What about growing up? Like, tell us about what playing basketball was like for you as a kid and just how you fell in love with the game.
Oh, that's good. I started late. I was had a photographic memory, so I was always easy in school. Like everything was easy, and I didn't need to work hard for a lot of stuff. And then I started playing late, and it was a hard thing to do. So for me, it was a challenge.
I like the challenge.
And I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. So I started playing late in high school. My grandma in 1990 when USSR broke out, she came here. So she was a Jewish lunar. So she came here, and she was a Bulls fan, you know. So she, you know, I would have like Dennis Rodman shirt, or I don't know if you remember, it was the cups in McDonald's, and if it's a cold water in there,
and it changed the hair color. Right.
So I had those.
You're in the right place.
That's
absolutely
right. So So I became a fan, you know, and just fell in love with it and slowly started getting better. Because I started late, it was hard to kind of jump on the scene. So I did a lot of 3-on-3. Back then, it wasn't that cool. Like a FIBA made it Olympic sports. You know, I don't know if you remember. It was a checks and no fouls, and it's like it's a little different, right? So I kind of grind that out. I was big with like Reebok, with Adidas. When they pushed Converse, I was like sponsored by Converse a little bit. When they pushed 3-on-3 into masses, remember End One mixtape and all that. It's kind of
the best.
Yes, right. The big deal. So
Escalade.
So that's how I started. That's right. That's how I started, and slowly grew into it. One of my first coaches taught me how to shoot far, because a lot of European team play zone, and he was one of the first like a jump shot guys. He was shooting jumpers before it was a 3-pointer. So like, hey, it's so much space in there. If you can hit far shots, then you can be very liable. So then he taught me how to kind of physically, if you're not strong enough to do it, just the mechanics. So it was helping me with the shot. He believed in me, and he told me that it's easier to teach the guy who's a willing passer to pass, to how to pass, than a guy who's supposed to be a point guard who's not a willing passer. So then like I took that approach, and that's why Modest is Modest and Terrence Shannon is Terrence Shannon, because I run those guys as a point guard, so as a playmakers. So then you see the game different. I would rather have a guy who's a willing passer to have a ball through them, instead of like, hey, you're short, you're a point guard.
Right.
So, and that's what I took from there. And then, again, moving on from there, the Nike Battleground happened 2004. So I won in Europe. Like it was some good competition. We had some guys from a national team playing, so it was a big deal. And that's how I came to Portland in Nike, met some people, tried to figure out how to get in college, and the rest is history.
So you stated that you felt like you weren't good enough, and that's kind of where your career kind of stopped, and you picked up coaching. So where did your desire to want to be a coach kind of come from?
So, well, first of all, I don't think I wasn't good enough.
Okay.
I was just, again, like I think it was very situational.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I did think at some point, like, hey, I got to be done with this. I'm like not young enough no more, right? So,
respect that.
So the next thing was I always liked coaching. I always thought the game. I always analyzed the game. You know, college, high school. I always would argue with coaches. You know, just in a coaching like a. Where I can back it up
about
right?
the game.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. So always thought that. Again, when I went to Indianapolis and lived there for a little bit, I ended up staying with Ed Schilling, and he's one of my mentors. He's been coaching with Calipari. He's just got a Pepperdine job in Malibu, in California. So
good for him.
So that's true. It's a great campus there. So he was one of my mentors. He started about training and what is it. He had a guy working with him who was GA on a Delta State, and that's how we kind of connected. So that's why I went to Indianapolis, Paul Schwartz, and he was helping me with training. You know, like I never know what's the 2-ball ball handling drill. And he like showed me, and I was like, oh wow, like why you do that? So then again, like just those things just to kind of open up. And then Steve Pratt in Chicago, and I loved the game. And when I realized I finished college in information technology and a business minor, and then as soon as I started thinking like, that's what I'm going to do, and it's you in the office, you with computers, it's like, I want to go with people, you know. I love basketball, so I want to share my knowledge, help kids to mold them to man, you know. And I feel like nowadays it's a really big with all the mental issues and just like people being, you know, I want to say soft, but just like babied a lot, and it's about themselves. I feel like basketball is a big tool to show them that the world is different.
Or that team sport. Yeah,
yes.
I got that.
Yeah.
I respect that, man. So I want to get into Modest, and we definitely going to get deep into him. But you said that told us over there when we were speaking that Cole Kmet was one of the guys, you know what I'm saying, that kind of came through when you were coaching, man. Can you tell us a little about Cole Kmet and his game?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't want to coach. I was just training, and I was doing, you know, some camps here and there. Yeah. And then one of the coach couldn't coach the team no more, and it was a 7th grade team. So I was preparing to be a pro. I was training myself. So then Steve was like, hey, you got to take over this team. I say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, what do you want me to do? So I show up. He had a really good kids like Joy St. Pierre, who played for University of Milwaukee and UTEP. Like he was 6'7" in the 7th grade. I had Aiden O'Connell. I had Cole Kmet. I have Chase Thomas. I have a few guys who end up playing college basketball. And so I was like, oh, it's easy, and we're winning. So we just like did a lot of, you know, drills and whatever I knew back then. Okay. And then whatever I was like throwing in, it worked. You know, I play with them sometimes. I was like, man, this team is good. I'm a good coach. It's easy, you know. And boy, I was humbled. You know, after a few years, I was very humble with my other teams. But that's how it started. Yeah. And the funny thing is, like I said before this year, I had guys in the NFL, but technically no guys who like I brought from young kids to the NBA. You know, we still have guys like Max Christie, who's been around, you know, who play for us. But it was a little different, you know, like Modest and Terrence. I knew them since they were young. And so Cole was not as big as he is now. And and that's interesting story too. He was always play hard.
I want to hear that. We're gonna take a break real quick, but we're gonna continue this conversation with our guy Dimitri over here hanging out with us. CHGO Bulls. Empire Today, ladies and gentlemen. With Empire Today, you get the shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and that low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, they got copycats out there. but Empire can't be beaten on quality service, speed, and competitors advertise low-quality products that Empire simply will not carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices, nope, because anyone who does that is putting flooring on their home that they wouldn't put in theirs. That's a bar right there. Our virtual floor designer, it's a beautiful thing. It's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look right up in your home. And you don't have to deal with the big box store, that 16-year-old who just started working at Home Depot that was working in plumbing yesterday, over there in flooring today, doesn't know what he's doing. Guess what? All they do is floors, 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 no matter what. That's all they do at Empire today. And they service their own warranties, y'all. So if an issue arises, just call Empire, and they will service all warranties themselves. You won't have to track down a manufacturer's phone number, because why would you have that? So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive $350 off, a discount of $350 off when they use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/CHGO for details. 588-2300. Joey!
Empire.
Today. Like that, D? Not bad?
Yes, good.
Come on.
Dave hit at the top. Today is a Sunnyside Summer Thursday. So if you want to know about your favorite place for judgment-free cannabis shopping, it is Sunnyside. It's a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to discover and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It is the one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They've got locations all over Chicagoland, including the north suburbs, Champaign, South Beloit, Wrigleyville, and River North in the city. So if you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands to help you know what you like and find what you like, such as Good News and Mindy's. And if you're a pro, they've got you covered too, with over 100 strains on the menu and new ones added weekly. They know you'll love Cresco and Florical's incredible quality and consistent products. Here for the summer is Good News Tea Time disposable vape, bringing classic lemonade flavor that's perfect for the golf course, because we all need help staying loose on the greens. And just in time for Lala, Free Spirit vapes and cartridges are all new from Good News with lush mango flavor. These vapes are perfect for tapping into your flower power. So visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Use promo code HICHGO, that's HICHGO, to qualify at checkout. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders.
With our guy Dmitry Pirshin, ladies and gentlemen, here on CHGO Bulls. We were talking Cole Kmet, talking about his skill level, man. What did you see watching Cole Kmet play ball?
Stud. He was hurt but never injured. He played through everything, you know. It's, like I said, I really thought that I was a good coach. So it was easy. Like that team was really good, and I was just starting. So for me, it was an interesting experience. Like I didn't know a lot what to do from team perspective.
Did you feel like this guy's going to be a professional athlete one day?
I mean, all of them were good. That's why it was interesting, because the team was really good. Like it was just a great group of kids. The parents were good, and yeah, it was interesting. So he was a really good athlete. They have another kid who actually ended up being drafted by MLB, but I don't think he's playing anymore. But so yeah, it was just a bunch of really good athletes.
It's absolutely stacked.
I don't know how many AAU coaches coached an AAU team where 2 guys went to the NFL, and that's a
flex.
Aiden O'Connell and Cole Kmet.
That's a flex, man.
Oh, there was another kid who
2 sport athletes.
Davian Nixon. He went to NFL too. He played in North Carolina first, then Seattle. He used to live in Kenosha, I think. So he's playing somewhere this year, but I'm not sure where. I think it's Indiana.
Okay. Yeah, got to play, man. Let's get into Modest Buzelis, sir. First of all, we love him. We love him. We got a chance to sit down, talk to him. He's everything I thought he was, just speaking to him, as far as his confidence level, you know, and how he feels about the game of basketball, like, and how he feels about his family. Like, all of that just kind of shined through when we had a discussion with him. But I want to know from you, like, how was he for you, like, as a kid? Was he still this uber confident kind of player? Obviously, he had things he needed to work on to get better. But what was your assessment of him at that time when you kind of first saw him?
So yeah, the first time he came, he was like a skinny 6th, 7th grader. He was a really good swimmer. He was ranked nationally, I think. He was a top 4 in state.
Yeah.
I think in freestyle. So he was a really good swimmer, and that's how he came. And then I guess he wasn't playing as much on his team because his team played him as a center. And as a skinny, tall kid, he just gets pushed around a lot.
Yeah.
People don't pass, little guards don't pass it to you. So,
I know the feeling.
right. So his dad and mom brought him, and he started training with Steve a little bit. And then Steve was like, "Hey, Dimitri, this guy is probably going to be really good. Like, you should check him out." And we like looked at him, and he was competitive. He was always competitive. He had his Lithuanian friends who beat the heck out of him, kind of just make him tougher, So like those twins, they're in college now, still playing, and he that's what we saw. And then we saw that he was a gifted passer. He saw the game different. He was just underdeveloped. His body was not ready. He was just not stable. His reads were sometimes too slow, or he would like overthink something. But his vision and just gift of making other better and being happy for others was always shine through. And that's where we really like, hey, we got to play through this guy. He's going to be a point guard. And if he grows, it will help him, right? So it helps when you are 6'10" and move like a guard. I always say, like, if you see him from far, you're like, oh, that's a guard. And then you like closer and closer and like, oh, Maris, he's like 6'10".
Yeah.
So it's something I didn't see a lot. Just so by about 8th grade, you can see the trajectory was when he like fell in love and started working. Christina always reminds me that I know a lot of schools here or teams here have a feeder program during the winter.
Yes.
So in their suburbs, it wasn't developed there yet. And him and those two twins for a whole winter, a spring, a summer, a fall, and an 8th grade winter, I saw him almost every day. Wow. So they would share rides or whatever it was. I saw them every day. And that was a really big jump for those 3 guys who it was just really us, 4 or 5 kids in the gym sometimes because the winter is not as busy.
Right.
And we just really got locked in. And that was a big jump that's what fall in love with the game. That was like he has some categories already, but that was just really kind of stepped up. And then when he starts showing what he can about freshman, sophomore, high school,
yes, sir.
People start recruiting him. So one time I sat down with like Modest and parents. I was like, hey, if it's going this way, you don't need to think about school no more. Like he's going to go straight to pro. And then like they laugh about it, and I guess Modest didn't. So like 2 years later, like, hey, that's what it is. Like I told you. So it's kind of, it was pretty cool to see that development and just growth,
Like that.
What I'm always interested in, like the actual kind of, whether it's drills or just specifics of how you develop a guy. You mentioned teaching guys how to be guards, even though they're not like, I think a lot of high school and middle school coaches, they just place you by size, right? It's not just like teaching you to develop guard skills. I think that's what Europe has done really well with their player development. And that's why you see guys like Jokic come over and Luka, who are 6'8",
Right.
6'10", 7 feet tall,
Right.
and they're point guards. So can you just kind of share a little bit more about your approach towards that and developing him as a guard, and like maybe some of the stuff that you actually work on with him in terms of drills?
Yeah, that's pretty good observation. So again, like people think that I'm like just his skill trainer, but I was his coach. And I don't know if you play AAU, that's mean you ride together, you go together out of town, you eat, so like sometimes I was joking, like I spend with those guys more than with my kids in the summer, so it's a lot of quantity and quality time spent together, right? And in those moments, you talk the game, you figure out, you bounce ideas, you coach them, you watch film, you watch games, and it's just a bigger approach. It's a holistic approach. You don't just like, hey, you come here, this is what we do, it's a skill, and you move on. And I feel like a lot of people kind of undervalue that. Like I said, I was his coach, which means after the game, I knew what he needed to work on.
Right.
It wasn't just like off the top, like, hey, let's work on this move. Like, no, you didn't pass to this guy who was open. So, like, you got to turn your head, or you took the screen and then the read was there and you didn't. So then, like, we knew exactly what to work on. And just personally, my belief that basketball is positionless. And you find when you're younger, you work on everything slowly, right? It's a development. It's a slow process. I say that my saying is we player development, we team development, we character development, and winning come as a side effect, right? So a lot of people, I believe, doing disservice when they're like the big kid show up in the 5th grade. So they just put a zone, I put him in the middle. So now 2 years later, that big kid is the same size as everybody. But all he can do is just stay in the middle or shoot layups, right? So then for me, it was positionless basketball. You need to know how to make plays. You need to know how to make shots. I always believe in 3 points, to stretch the floor, to run in transition, to sprint. Like a lot of big guys didn't like to play for me because I made them run, right? Like we ran a lot. We play faster. So if you weren't in shape, you were struggling, right? So
Get in shape.
you either get in shape, right, or you're just not going to do
you
it.
ain't gonna play.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that was my belief. And modest, it helps when you're genetically gifted and you grow and you freak athlete, right? But both parents played, and his younger brother is genetically gifted. So then it just all gets together. And like I said, I believe in positionless basketball, and people know how to play. So for me, my job is to create players who know how to play the game no matter what system is, right? I don't want them to play spring and then go in summer and June with their high school and not understand what they're doing, or play spring and summer and then go in their high school and not fit in. I believe that they should adjust. They should be learners. They should understand how to do it. Like playing in high school, I feel like it's a really cool experience. Some of the kids play in front of 4,000 people, right? Or the playoff comes, like AAU is not like that, right? So I feel like it's a different experience when you're beating friends who you're competing against for years, like a Highland Park Deerfield rivalry, right? You cannot get tickets. Yeah, you cannot get tickets to that. It's packed. And both teams might have a bad year.
Yeah.
But that game, they'll show up.
Joey get tickets. He knows the guy.
Pride on the line.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We're connected. You need tickets, you come to me.
You know how to get that door.
Yeah. He knows people that knows people. You know what I mean?
Jewish Mafia is very connected.
They're deep.
Gotcha.
We're learning, man. And also, you're speaking Will to go Gottlieb's language over here. Positionless basketball, 3-point shooting.
No, I wish I would have had you as a
all.
coach. I feel like
Seriously.
it's just, I feel like I had we don't have to get into me, but I just feel like I had a tough time learning the red skills because I was this tall when I was in middle school. So they're like, oh, you're a power forward. You stand on the block. And I'm still this tall. So just never.
See, but I could shoot. They didn't want me to shoot.
And also, people didn't believe in shooting.
Yeah, correct.
15 years ago.
Correct, man. I was rare. Kevin Duckworth was around when I was doing that. You feel me? So it was a rare thing to be going on like that. But we're going to stop. We're going to take another break here. And when we come back, we are definitely going to continue the conversation about Modest Buzelis. And I want to get into Terrence Shannon Jr. also, man. Talk about his game with our guy, DP over here. Let's go. CHGO Bulls. Because it is time to embrace chill. Relax. Put your feet up. Enjoy the show. And grab an ice cold Coors Light. Because between work, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn that rained out barbecue into the 800th annual Will to Go Gottlieb karaoke house party? Or, after a tough loss, settle scores with an ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then choose Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment, because when those mountains turn blue, oh yes, you know what to do. It's as cold as the Colorado Rockies. Cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. So when you embrace that chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open that cold Coors Light that is full of that mountain cold refreshment. So make the most out of those times to choose chill, choose Coors Light, get it delivered straight to your door via Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
When we were walking up here, Dimitri asked me, like, we do our show, what else do we do here at CHGO? So got a long list. I'm going to tell you all about it here. We do the podcasts every day, off season, 5 days a week, no matter what. We do pre and post game shows live on YouTube.
This is facts.
We got it on podcast as well for all you podcast listeners. We have premium written content from myself, from Adam Hogue, Moriano, guys who cover the Hawks, the Cubs, and all the teams here in Chicago. And then we also have a diehard subscription package, which allows you to come to events, gives you access to our Discord channel where you can talk with us, talk about WWE with Dave. And you get some merch like the one I'm wearing, this shirt here. You get a free shirt when you sign up.
Nice shirt.
Huge locker full of awesome merch you can get a discount on if you become a diehard member. But most exciting is our events. And coming up this fall with the Chicago Bears, being exciting for the first time in my lifetime, we have some fun events going on. Number one, Bears are going to London.
I thought you were going to say Super Bowl, but yes.
They're going to the Super Bowl, but first they're going to London.
Yes.
And you can go with them too. If you join at truefantravel.com, you can go with our group to the game, direct flight to London with airport transfers, hotel accommodations, individual tickets to the game. You can customize whatever you want with this package, but there's going to be an event for people to come hang out at a London pub. There's a party boat cruise, a pep rally, a tailgate, tickets to the game, everything you could possibly want. And if you can't go to that one, you can maybe join us for the game in Arizona against the Cardinals on November 3rd. We're doing a trip there as well. That would include a 3-night stay in a 4-star Phoenix hotel, Q&A with the Bears alumni, which will be announced at a later date, all-inclusive tailgate party, round-trip transportation to the game, tickets in the upper level for the Bears Cardinals. So reserve your spots now for the London trip if there are still tickets remaining, and the Phoenix trip, truefantravel.com, limited spots available. But that's not all. Cubs are still going. We're doing a takeover on September 6th. That is tomorrow against the Yankees. Rizzo is back. Pre-game meetup location, TBD, but it's nearly sold out, so get your tickets at allchgo.com/events. We just had a great event and tailgate at Soldier Field when the Miami team came to visit on August 31st. So we're doing a ton of awesome stuff. You're going to want to join ahead of this Bear season because it's going to be a ton of fun. There's some rumblings of more shows being in the mix of really exciting people talking Bears all day long on Sundays. So you're going to want to join. You're going to check it out. allchgo.com/events, allchgo.com/join diehard.
Joe, are you excited? Texas?
Yeah,
Michigan?
I'm excited. Not, I've been running my mouth a lot around the office, so
You have.
I will let the results speak for themselves come Saturday.
Talking your mess. I love it, man. We're going to be having a Big Ten watch party also on that Saturday with our guy, Joe, over at Joe's on Weed Street. Come through, starts at 2 o'clock. Come have some drinks, come have some laughs, hang out with us. It'll be a great time. But right now, a great time is being had as we're hanging out with our guy, Dmitry Pirshin. He is a coach. He is a trainer. He is a father and an all-around awesome human being who can definitely give us buckets, like for sure. For sure, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, these are facts. I wanted to ask you about Terrence Shannon Jr. A lot of Bulls fans, a lot of love for Terrence Shannon Jr., being a hometown guy. A lot of them wanted the Bulls to actually get him as well if they could work that out. But he's going to Minnesota. I think he's in a great position in Minnesota coming off that bench, and I really think he's going to ball out. But you had the honor and to coach him, to be with Terrence Shannon Jr. Yeah. So tell us about your time with him and what you saw in his game that you just knew was like, okay, this dude might be something.
So my first head coach job was at Lincoln Park. I was a JV sophomore coach, which in the CPS is the same thing.
Yes, sir.
So the funny thing is my first game ever was against Tyler Horton-Tucker.
Oh, wow.
And Simeon. That's right.
Yes.
And Simeon whooped us.
That's what they do.
And I was like, man, if every game, because we play against grown men, I'll tell you that. And I was like, if every game is going to be like this, I'm in trouble. But it wasn't. So we got better. Terrence was I don't know if you ever saw him walk when he was younger. He was just like goofy looking, kind of bull-legged, wobbly guy. And but he was already, tall. He played wide receiver for Lincoln Park. He was tough. So for me, he was like, oh, he's a willing passer. So I play him as a point. It turned out too that the full package owner Steve Pratt was one of the first. His trainees was Terrence Shannon's dad. Wow. And he's like over 40 now, but he still can play. So it's like genetically, he was gifted. And then it was just he was a guard for me. So then, since freshman year in Lincoln Park till senior year, I was coaching him, and then he was with full package too. And then that last year when he reclassified to go to IMG, he played with Matt Kirby, and he had a really good teammates. He had Khalil Whitney and Jacobs, who committed to Kansas, but then ended up going to DePaul. So we were like, yeah, you got to go with them. Like, why wouldn't you? It's a good opportunity. So then he kind of blew up, and it was pretty good to see and watch him to blossom. Then he kind of like disappeared a little bit from the map with the Texas Tech, and then reappear in Illinois. And then last summer, he was like, hey, I'm going to do a push to the NBA like this year. So we kind of found information about him and what he needs to work on. We talk about the pre-draft workouts guy. I've tried to reach out to some people. He did. So we kind of got a feedback. And then, we worked a lot on deceleration and three-point shooting. And that's like two biggest gaps he had. And then last year, he killed it in Illinois. Yeah. And I'm really proud of him. And I think he's in a really good situation because they just lost one guy to Golden State. And he kind of filled in that role. I feel he's going to play a lot. Like, just play defense. The team's going to get expensive. So they're going to go with the younger guys who can kind of sub for that. So I think he's in a really good position. The funny thing is, too, a few months ago before he got drafted, I told him to watch McDaniels. And I was like, hey, this is the guy you need to be. Hit open shots, attack closeout, make simple plays, and defensively just kill
your
it.
Ass off.
And that's what he did. And now he's his teammate. Yes, so he can ask him some questions.
That's awesome, man.
Did he and Modest ever play together?
They train together a lot.
He's much older. I think he's like 20.
Yes. So I'm like joking about it. Like, he kind of was Modest before Modest. It was like the project, Yeah. So, like, again, the rides, the pickups, the dinners, you name it, the out-town tournaments and all that. So, again, we just spend a lot of times together, and that's how you grow. That's how players know they can trust you. If you coach them hard, it's out of love.
Yes.
And that's why I feel like those two guys really stand out, because even now I can coach them. Even now they want to be coached. Even now they want for feedback. Like, Terrence show up sometimes like, hey, this game, like, I missed like 3-4 shots. Like, what is going on? And I was like, all right, let's get on synergy. Let's watch. So then we'll watch. I was like, all right, well, look at your rhythm. Or whatever it is, he wants the feedback. So he wants to be coached. And that's what I think the big separator of guys who's making it and guys who are not.
That's awesome, man. So when in working with Modest now, what kind of skills are you working on for him now? So by the time, let's just say training camp comes around, he's kind of ready to go or has a base about knowing what he wants to do.
So again, it's great that now he kind of finally can do things that we've been working on for a long time, just because of spacing and rules and like hand checks. So we've been working on some pro stuff, but in a high school court, it's hard to do.
Smaller,
with help with zones.
Space.
So then, like, in Ignite, he's finally kind of opened up a little bit, right? What's great is we have a feedback now from Summer League. So then you can even lock in more, like, hey, this is what you're going to do. Now with the Bulls roster, again, it limits even more things, or I guess less things now what he can do. So for Modest, I think it has to be about efficiency. Yeah. You got to be very efficient. I told him there's some possessions that you might not touch the ball for, 7 possessions in a row. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to be proud about it, or are you going to go crash the glass?
Talk to him.
So like sprint and transition, play defense, multiple position, guard best players, unload your best scorers from that job. You know, you want to guard the best players. You want that matchup. Attack closeouts. Chicago was the first team in NBA last year in creating closeouts. So like just attack those right, make open shots, be conditioned. You know, like listen to the coach. So again, I'm telling him stuff from the coach's point of view.
Sure.
So it's not like it's a conflict of interest. I feel like sometimes trainer versus coach, where you're like, hey, I want for you to shoot every shot.
Right.
Or for coach, like, hey, I want you to shoot the right shot.
Right.
So for me, if I'm honest, I want him to shoot a lot, but I want him to shoot right shots.
Right.
Because that's what makes him to stay on the floor. And how a year it takes for you to be the guy, you gotta play through it. You gotta earn yourself. You gotta prove the point. Told them with fouls. Like, you're a rookie. Who's gonna go fouls on you?
Right.
Nobody. So I said, you gotta play through them. There's no fouls. All right. Like, you're a rookie. Somebody grabs you, it's gonna happen. So you're gonna play against Brooks. You're gonna play against Dort.
Right.
Like, go play with those guys.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be physical, and people look at him was like, oh, let's beat up that guy, right? And it's deceiving. Like, Modest is actually very physical, and he's not afraid of contact.
Yeah.
And he creates contact well, and he knows how to leverage. So people will be surprised, I feel like, about his physicality. And you saw, like, one of the podcasts, he does talk a little bit, you know. I'm not a fan, but whatever gets you going. Whatever gets you going.
I love it, Coach. I love
gets you
it.
going.
So you mentioned having like some stuff to actually look at and give him feedback on with summer league. What was the feedback there? What'd you think about the way that he played?
Right.
Maybe some things that you saw him doing really well and some areas for improvement.
Gotta make open shots. He struggled with like first game a little bit, and then just all of a sudden the first shot came in, and like all the nervousness just went out.
I think he missed his first 2 or 3 threes, and then the
so
third
Milwaukee
quarter
game, he didn't make any threes. He like missed first free throws, you know, and then Golden State game came in, and then like fourth quarter he just blew up.
Yeah.
You know, he just made first, and he goes in, and then it's a player, you just like, whew, the pressure is off. Let's go out and play.
Right.
So then like by the third game with Detroit, he was already talking, and like him and Ron went at it, and Bobby Kleinman, and they trained together. So like it was all, you know, it was fun, right? Yeah. So he enjoys that. Again, you got to make open shots. You got to know how to create rhythm right off the catch, because he's very like a rhythm guy. So you don't have a ball.
Guys, like when they have the ball and they start to get into their like bag a little bit.
Right.
So it's like creating that off the catch can be really tough.
Yes. Now he cannot do that because it's just not enough time.
Have the ball.
Exactly. So then you have to be like this on the go, right? Fast decisions, like sink hips on the catches, be aggressive. When somebody bumps you, how to swim under the contact, how to put them on your shoulder, how to bump them up instead of taking the contact and kind of fall back. How to read closeouts well. In the summer league, they did a lot of zoom action, which is you kind of sprint out of the corner for a handoff, how to make that decision faster, how to use the screen, how to understand spacing, where the players. If you got Kobe White on this corner, so then you got more space this way because they're not going to help of him. But if you got a Giddey, then they probably might help. So then like understanding that, just the personnel, the awareness. Right. So again, it's a lot of things. But you know, we kind of simplify just for audience. It's attack closeouts, it's play defense on multiple positions, rebounding, and making open shots. That's what I would say, like a biggest, simplest thing. And you know, of course, condition well, which I think he does a good job, right? So I believe that. Keep working on strength. A lot of like people who are like, hey, you know, you just need to put 25 pounds. Like, why 25? What is exactly it is? So I believe that it's a natural process, a long process. Like I joke that KD never struggled scoring. And
It's true.
He couldn't bench 185, right?
That's a fact.
So again, Modest know how to leverage. So then you're strong. You just don't look like that, right?
But to your advantage.
Yeah, and I do believe that if you're stronger or faster or better athlete on your position, it helps, right? So clearly he needs to get stronger. But it's legs, it's core, it's shoulders. So it's, he might not look like Corey Maggette, but he's strong. So that's what I think is a little deceiving. With shooting too, like everybody's saying, look at the stat in G League, and he shot, I believe, 27%.
Correct.
Now in the month of February, he shot 42%.
Yes.
So again, he came from injury, right? The ankle, now the spacing, the travel. So he was adjusting, right? So like it took some time, and then so again, it got better, right? So like there's a gap, so where you can see like, oh, okay, he can make shots. He can do this. He was a fourth in a shot blocking in the G League, fourth, right? So he's a rim protector. He's long. He pursued the ball.
His help defense is awesome, man.
Yeah. So and that's part of him being on the floor with those guys. They are playmakers. They know how to score. Now you can be a best playmaker. You're a rookie, all right? And you got a coach who's a winning coach,
right,
who wants to win right now. He won 2 national championship in Florida. He wants to win. It's hard to tell him like, let's not win.
Right.
So
exactly.
that's not happening. Yeah. Right. So like, what can you do to help him win? Yeah. Because if you're not playing, that's on you. You're not helping him winning. I never met a coach who don't want to win. So
that's real.
I'm curious about like the shot specifically because, obviously high school is one thing. It's like smaller, shorter 3-point line, just a totally different game, right? But he shot over 40% at Sunrise Christian his last year in high school, came into the G League and struggled. But as you said, got better as the season went on. He's also playing in totally new context. The NBA 3-point line, Holland goes down. There's nobody else to really take pressure off of him. He's got to create a ton of offense on his own. Now he's in a system where, like you're talking about, he's not going to be the primary option. So what does he need to do to improve his shooting other than just like rep it out a bunch? Is there like mechanical stuff that he needs to change, or do you feel like it is just he's got the foundation and it's just about confidence and repetition?
So, there are some bad habits when he like pulls the ball a little bit. So again, like this summer, we really locked in on those. We kind of really polish it up, right? So I don't know if you saw his shot recently. Like it's very clean, right? The range, understanding how to create momentum off the catch instead of off the dribble, right? Like he shot contested shots better in G League than open shots. So again, that's a rhythm, right? In contested shots, it's faster, it's closer to your body, it's a little different.
You don't have to think as much.
Yeah, exactly.
You
don't think, right? So then again, like that's a mindset, that's a mentality where you have to work on. At this moment, one of this summer thing that what we did, we try to get him off rhythm as much as possible. So we would do as much random as possible. I had this app that's like just does random. You put the list of stuff and it just random shows it up, right? Okay. So then I put it like, get a drink, sit 15 seconds, sit 2 minutes, a transition 3 of zoom action. And it's like maybe 50 different shots he's going to take in the system, they will, and it's just random. So like somebody else would be just yelling out what we're doing. And that's what we're doing. So then we will try to break him off rhythm as much as possible. So you need to be getting good, ready to go. Like those timeouts are 5 minutes sometimes.
Right.
So then you sit there and you have to come out, and now it's the end of shot clock situation. And then like somebody throw you a grenade, you got to make a shot. You got to make a play.
Being a bench scorer, I feel like it's got to be so underrated how hard that has to be to just like come in the game, have been sitting there for 7, 8, 10, 15 minutes after warmups, just come in and like hit a shot. That's just got to be so tough.
Yeah.
I think there's a plus and minus to it because you see the game, you see how refs calling it, you see the rhythm, you see the speed, so there's a plus. But I agree with that. There's a crazy stat about Lou Williams that if he hits his first shot off the bench, that he averaged like 18 points, and if he misses his first shot, it's like 11 or something. Wow. I don't quote me on that, but it's a big difference.
Yeah.
So then again, it comes to like a rhythm, right? You came in and shot it and made it and get you going.
Yeah.
Because if you, I don't know, Carmelo Anthony, you're going to shoot more.
Right.
So then like first shot, like, what is it really? Right. But for Matas, like if you don't hit first shot, will they pass it? Yeah. Right. So like, it adds pressure. So that's a little different.
That's my thing with Patrick Williams. Like, I just feel like he one is a rhythm player and he can never get in rhythm because one, his ball handling isn't good enough, but two,
He doesn't take enough shots either.
He's just but he can't. Like it's just a situation where he doesn't have the ball enough, and that is what it is with the team that they had. But I just
hard
think
to tell.
It's tough to get.
We're not in those huddles and coaches meeting. So
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I wanted to ask you and touch on this again about the mental of Modest, because I love his mentality, and I loved it when you mentioned Holland when he was playing Detroit, and I remember after the first quarter he got interviewed and they asked him, "Hey, how's it playing with your friend?" And he was like, "Yeah, we're not friends right now. Like we're playing basketball." And I was like, I showed it to everybody I knew. Like this is what I'm talking about right here. Do you feel he's a little more ahead mentally as a 19-year-old than maybe a few other players? Because I like that he's where he is mentally now. And it's rare for me to see a 19-year-old have that kind of mind state that he has when he's on the floor.
Yeah. So I think he's a competitor, and I think that's just what it is. Since he was a younger guy, his dad was big, like he's always kind of looked up. Like I was big asset for that because I play against him a lot, right? So like from 7th, 8th grade, when he wasn't bigger than me, he had to fight me, right? So then there's two guys who are his friends, Modest and Rokas. They play in Wisconsin Parkside now, college players.
Okay.
And they were like always together. And they were like just physically nasty guys, And it's like if you survive them, which Modest did, like you can get anybody.
It reminds me of like Jokic's brothers, like massive,
like Ben Wallace, right?
Yep,
he had like 9 older brothers.
Yes, he
and
did.
You say to get a ball, like it's just not happening. You got to get rebounds.
That's how I grew up. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so I think that's the mindset.
Yeah.
Again, I love it. Like he's a competitor, so he will do whatever it takes to win. So again, if he doesn't need to take shots in that particular game, he'll find other things. He will rebound. He will do whatever coach asks. He will play defense. He will take challenge to guard the best guy. He will run in transition, whatever it takes. And that's like you said it. I do. I love that mindset for him to do anything to win. And it's hard to find now because a lot of people, it's them, it's brand, it's how do I look, and they get lost in this team sport. And basketball is such a great sport because you cannot do it alone. Nobody did. Nobody. No greatest players did it alone.
Nope.
So you gotta learn how to play with others and engage, and that's why I don't know if you saw somebody score, have a dunk or something. Modest first one off the bench. He's he will wave towel, he will high five, he will run out of the huddle in the timeout. He's happy when he's genuinely happy when others people do well. And that's why for me it was always make sense to give him a ball. Because I know he's not going to shoot he'll shoot bad shots here and there. He will not do it out of selfish reasons,
I got to get mine.
Yes, he would never do that. And that's what I loved about him, and that's how he became who he is.
Yeah.
So you I feel like you're being, obviously from a coach, you got to do what's in front of you, right? Like it's day by day. You don't think too far ahead. Just like you're saying, defend, rebound, run transition. But if you could like zoom out a little bit and think long-term about where Modest kind of ends up when he's 26, 27 in this league, like what do you see him being? Is he a guy you feel like he can be an all-star? Is he somebody that's like a very good starter on a good team? Like what do you think his role looks like with that?
Well, I love Modest always say like, hey, I'm Modest. And I think he's Modest. I just don't know anybody who's like that. Like because at some point, and I told Modest too, like it stretched me as a coach because I was looking like, hey, where do we learn? Who do I need to look for? And like LaMelo Ball was one of the guys, but just like creativity and just a thin frame. And then Paul George was the other guy who was 6'9", 6'8" guard, very skilled, who play upright a little bit. Like, I don't know if you saw, like Paul George he doesn't bend a lot, but he's just upright, just smooth.
His handle's
very
so
smooth.
good.
Yeah, so that's why, like, for me, it was a combination of those two. And then Modest keep growing, So then now he's a, like, freak athlete. Yeah. He's probably top 5 athletes, like, in NBA. They just, the bounce, the 1 foot, the 2 feet, the left foot, the right foot, like this way, another way. catching the ball, making a play, catching the ball behind you, and just all this. Just he moves, he just moves so well. That's why it's really hard to compare. So then I just want for him what he wants. The sky's the limit. You just go get it. However you want to be, like you do it. But it takes work. It takes situations too. And I think he can just persevere from, first year, 2 years, whatever it takes, and just go for it.
Like that. Let me talk about the team. Let's talk about the Chicago Bulls. You touched on Josh Giddey for a second. Just curious what you feel about Josh Giddey's game and how it will kind of blend in with the team that you see now.
Well, one of the guys who I like Australian basketball. One of the coaches actually on Chicago staff, he's from Australia.
Damian Cotter.
Yeah, Damian Cotter. So I watch a lot of Patty Mills, and Josh Giddey was one of the guys who I was like, Modest, you can model the game like that as a big guard. It's like a power forward kind of, not point forward.
Point forward, sure.
Yep.
Sure.
And then he makes plays in transition. He rebounds. He got multiple position. He's not as athletic, but so we did. Modest and I did a lot of Giddey, so we're kind of familiar with that game, with his game, and I like him a lot. I hope this is a good reset for him. I mean, whatever he went through is tough, right? And I don't wish anybody on that, right? Just to be in a situation, and I hope it's a good restart. He's young. I think he just came back in Chicago after Olympics. Yeah. So Modest and him, I know, worked out a few times and just kind of build a relationship. I like his game a lot. Maybe not last year again with all going through that, but the first year, I mean, he impressed me personally.
That's awesome. And also, real quick, want to say, make sure you become a diehard, ladies and gentlemen. Become a CHGO diehard. Hang out with us, as Will mentioned. You will save money. You're on takeovers. You will save money on events, watch parties, all that other cool stuff. You'll get diehard exclusive coverage, especially from Will the Go Gottlieb with the golden pen over there, pinning up that awesomeness. He will have diehard exclusive things along with all the other writers for the Bears, for the Blackhawks, for the White Sox, for the Cubs, for the Fire, for all the teams that we cover, and the T-shirts and the merchandise. And Joey Spathis will send you a shout-out personally. I promise you. But yes, become a CHGO diehard and hang out with us, ladies and gentlemen. So as far as just the team, I'm a big Kobe White fan, and I really like his game. And I'm curious of what you see. Do you feel that he has kind of hit the ceiling he is at, or do you feel like there's another level he can kind of go to?
Well, I think he took a huge leap last year.
Sure.
All right. Again, situation, right? The door opened up, and he walked in and took it.
Yes.
And same, like his competitor, I believe he's a scorer first, and that's what he did his whole life. And it's just a mindset too, Like if you had a green light and you don't think it's a bad shot, you can become a good shooter, right? So it's a mindset, and I think he got a great mindset for a scorer.
Yeah.
Now, with a lot of playmakers around him, I think it's going to be a little different, right? Like last year, he had to make plays, and his usage was high, and sometimes a high usage creates, like the turnovers and maybe plays that he's not comfortable with it. So now I believe that he can actually play the right position or right place where he is and still be effective, right? Still be a threat, because Zach LaVine is a good shooter too, right? Yeah. So if you put those guys off the ball, right, for them to just concentrate on scoring, so they know their job is simple. If I get a ball, I'm just going to score, which makes, they're just simpler game. So if you got Lonzo Ball, who's healthy, if you got Giddey, who's a playmaker first, if you got Vooch, who's a great passer out on the perimeter, he can stretch the floor. Now the whole floor is open up, and there's a lot of possibilities, I think.
It's crazy to think about that, because the Bulls have been such a poor three-point shooting team and a poor floor spacing team for the last couple of years. But I agree, in theory, they could really change the way that they play offensively now. And again, not to disparage DeRozan, who we all have very strong feelings about, but and who is great, but it's just a different style of play. And I think they need to lean into that. But you mentioned Giddey being in the corner and shooting. Do you feel like, obviously he can shoot, right? He shot whatever percent in the Olympics.
Not a great shooter right now.
but he needs to work on it. He needs to get better at it. He needs to become, I always say, like, there's a difference between a guy who can hit a shot and a shooter, right? And so what if you're coaching Giddy, like, what are you working on with him to improve his jumper?
Well, again, I don't know him. I can only speculate,
or
right?
just any young player.
I'm not in the meetings.
Right.
I'm not with his coach. I want to say if you're mature enough that you kind of already have your game, right? Kind of stick to it and just get it better at it. If you know your role, do we want him to shoot at a high clip? 3-point shots? Probably not. But I always give an example. If people know how to guard guys like Ben Simmons and Giannis, if you kind of hit the shot and then everybody kind of pack in, and now you overhelp a little bit, so then that makes it harder for everybody. So like you said, I agree. That's a good statement that like shooter versus just
guy
make
who
open
can
shot,
shoot,
right? So I do think he should be able to make open shot, right? Now again, if he need to like just sprint full speed, 1-2 shot, probably not going to happen.
You're not putting him in the zoom action.
Yeah, right. Well, as a cutter, right? Or as a playmaker to dump it off or to kick it out or get to the basket. So again, I feel like coaching staff will figure out how to work with him. Again, I believe any position you have to hit a shot. Otherwise, people are just going to play defense differently. Yeah. So people adjust. You see now, like Dallas Mavericks play zone a lot because Minnesota couldn't hit the shots, right? Yeah. So then again, like Miami plays zone sometimes against teams who don't shoot as well. So I just feel like there's so many to it, and everybody needs to shoot. And you don't have to be a 45% shooter, but if it's open, you at least have to try.
Thank you. God, I'll be screaming that. Coach, we're going to get you out of here on this one, man. And thank you again for being here. What do you think do you think the Bulls have a shot at the play-in or the playoffs? And do you have an idea of what you think the win-loss record will be?
Well, again, it's hard to predict.
Sure.
I think they will start the season, and I'm assuming, again, I'm just speculating, and they will see how it's going, right? If that works, if that roster works,
yes, sir. Because
they just signed like 2 more forwards, Lofton and
THC.
Right. So then how is that going to work? I'm sure the preseason camp will get some right.
Yeah.
The first few games, maybe preseason, maybe we'll see different rotation. Is Lonzo Ball healthy? Is Patrick Williams healthy? How is that going to work? And I feel like from there'll be decision got to be made. Is that working right now? Then let's play with this and see how it goes. And if it's not, let's just blow it up and think how else we can do it. East got better. There's a lot of good teams. Paul George is joining Philly.
Yeah.
So New York is there. Milwaukee's going to be there.
Boston, of course.
Right, like Boston. So then Orlando, right?
Yeah.
Cleveland,
yeah.
So then, like, where are you at, right? So it's hard to tell. I'm sure they can be a contender. I'm sure they for a playoff, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they can be there. Again, I believe how it goes, right? Are they going to figure it out? Is the player right? Is the camaraderie correct? Is the chemistry working? And then from there, I'll cheer for them.
Yes,
so
glad you be cheering, bro. We'll be cheering right along with them. We appreciate you, Coach, for coming on, man. Thank you, Coach Dmitry Pirshin, coming on, man.
Thank you very much.
Coach, trainer, full package, but also an awesome father of 4. And again, like we said, you definitely give us buckets, no doubt about it, man. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening, man. On behalf of my main man, Joey Spathis, on the ones and twos, my main man, Will the Go Gottlieb over there. Follow him at Will_Gottlieb. I am Big Dave, y'all. We out of here. Peace and love to you all. We gone.